who don't know me, I'm Xander. Like everyone, I have my own belief in God, and everyone has their own views of things, and it varies from person to person. Yes, I know it sounds a little cliche. Well, that's what I get for being my procrastinating self and this being the second attempt at writing one. My beliefs has always been around. For as long as I can remember, I've been going to this church. Yes, I may not be consistently coming every Sunday, but I still believe in him and what the church does. My belief and trust in him became even stronger last year. At that time is when my belief became my strongest. Last year I was hospitalized for a few days. But he helped me through that hard time when I was laying in the bed, hospital bed. Friends and family showing me their love and care came. I felt his love through them, and I really felt him there with me. I felt him helping me through that hard time. I put all my trust in him. I knew with him helping me that I would be okay. When all this happened, it helped me solidify what I wanted to do with my life. I know that it'll help me accomplish that. For me, I want to help people when they're at their worst and that they need someone to help them so they can be healed again. I know that won't be an easy road, but it'll be worth taking every step at the end. I know that I have people here who always support me and that I can always come back here if I ever need to. I know that no matter what I go through, that he's always there for me. I want to leave you guys all with a quote from one of my favorite bands. If there's no tomorrow, if there's just today, would you make different choices or would you stay the same?
Hi everyone. So I'm just going to start this off by saying that I'm sorry I haven't been to Yak in like 2 months, maybe longer. I have this job and I get such little hours anyway, so I need to take as much as I can, you know how it is. Secondly, for those who didn't know or haven't figured it out by this point, I'm gay. I figured everyone should know before I disappear for an extended period of time. And I want to say how eternally grateful I am that I grew up in a community that was so accepting, so I don't have to be afraid to be myself. There are so many queer kids out there that don't get that chance, who feel completely detached from their faith because it's telling them that everything about them is wrong. This amazing community not only lets me be myself without any fear, but is also just a constant beacon of support for literally every single thing that I do. If a leader isn't at one of my shows, it's because it was me who forgot to tell them. It's the wonderful community and culture of this place that keeps me coming back. I grew up with these people. I met one of my best friends here. I know for a fact that every Discovery weekend, every outreach ministry, every rummage sale, every glazed donut that I've eaten every Sunday since I was 2 has fundamentally molded me into the person that I am today. This place means the absolute world to me, and I'm definitely going to miss both it and all of you when I'm gone. I love all of you to death.
I believe in God's ongoing plan that includes both the good and the bad. A plan that I don't always understand, but a plan I try to put my faith in. I believe in a forgiving God, a God that understands no matter what. I know that God is constantly guiding me to his will and forgiving me when I stray, and that as long as I continue to believe in his goodness and continue to worship him individually and through the church, I have nothing to fear. I also believe in the community of St. John's, that God works through our community in so many ways, and that no matter what, in this church community, I have someone to talk to and someone to rely on. I didn't always know this, but sitting in the back of a car in Ireland, listening to the story of a woman named Mary, whom I barely knew, it all sort of came to me. She was telling me of how as a child of the Irish Troubles, she was surrounded by violence, and she was not particularly religious. However, one day her school visited Cormila, and after speaking to her school, their founder, Ray Davey, personally told her that she would always have a place to stay. She decided to volunteer, and I continued to do so from then on until I met her. But she finished her story by telling me that she believed wholeheartedly that if she did not join Cormila, she would have been killed in the Troubles. As the story was told to me, I knew that God was absolutely real and had always been in my life and in the people around me. Therefore, as I continue through my path in God's plan, especially in these next 4 years, I want to maintain my proximity to God and to St. John's. Coming back physically will be difficult because of distance to school, but I plan to take my faith and the faith and traditions of St. John's wherever I go, and to continue to share God's love and kindness with every new person I meet.
Standing here today, I am reminded of how long I have been fortunate enough to spend time exploring my faith with this wonderful community of people. Not only have I spent the last month reflecting, but I've had a whole 12 years learning, growing, and changing here at St. John's. I'm sorry if I cry. Discovering faith is not an easy task. In fact, I still really don't know what I believe in. I think I know more of what I don't believe in than what I do. But here's one thing I've come to realize quite recently. I trust that God will always be there for me when I try and fall. I trust that He will guide me through the times in my life when I'm lost. I trust that He will give those same exact benefits to all of His people. On the other hand, I believe those of us on earth who realize what God has given and done for us should help show those who have not yet seen what God is doing for them. In that way, we can serve God. In my beginning years at St. John's, I didn't really fit in. No one was mean or excluding. I was just an insecure little sixth grader who didn't want to be in breakfast club. It felt pointless. Who would want to sit around and talk about Jesus when you could be at home sleeping? It wasn't until we embarked to Ireland that I fully understood why everyone loved church so much. There I recognized the true importance of the true church community I was raised with. In those 10 days in Ireland, my fellow pilgrims and youth leaders were my saviors. They helped me see what God had put in front of me and taught me to really appreciate it. These past 2 years in YAC, I've been fortunate enough to go on a mission trip to Birmingham and spend 1 week and a month serving nearby communities in Baltimore. I can only hope that I have showed the light of God at least a fraction of what my peers had exposed me to in Ireland. I'm delighted to say that next fall I will begin the next chapter of my life at the University of Maryland, College Park. There I will be a participant of the International Studies Scholars Program, where community service is a huge part of learning and bonding with my peers. I will carry my image of God with me throughout my college experience, and I hope I remember my mission that He has put before me. Let me be a light for others to see.
I'm nervous. I know it's a natural feeling, given the fact that in just 3 months I'll be taking a step forward into a new chapter of my life, away from the home here at Elkin City in St. John's. But still, in this group I've forged friendships with people I know feel the same way I do about the world and God. Relationships that will be difficult to fill in. Faith in God is something we're blessed to have. To it I owe my positivity, compassion, and I'm sure any other good traits I may happen to possess as well. For me, Christ is a quiet confidant and a friend on a personal level, in addition to his more heavenly responsibilities, omnipresent in success or failure, the good and the bad, at every moment of my life. What this means: God does not directly guide our actions and their outcomes. If He uses some preconceived roadmap to place us on a certain course, then where do we as humans have our individuality? This is why I cannot believe the concept of predestination. We make our own choices, of which some will be better than others, but no matter what happens, Christ loves unconditionally. Faith comes to knowing someone has your back, no matter how terrible the moment may seem. He is there whether you're staring down a 100-foot cliff, performing a skip in front of a massive mid-highs, sitting on a beach, delivering communion, learning the sport of curling, painting from an uncomfortably high ladder, or eating dry pancakes while crossing a shaky rope bridge. When I move into College Park in the fall, I'll be thrown among so many people who have never had these experiences, who have never felt the comfort these beliefs provide. And that makes me nervous. But if I've learned anything over these past years with this group, it is the influence that faith can have on others. I choose a path to attempt to recreate the love I have found that Jesus has for us to others, and expand the microcosm of spirit I've been part of here at St. John's into the world. Thanks.
So, since I was 3, in beginners preschool, 4-year-olds, I've been at St. John's. So, since I knew what God was, I've always been here. And I'm a little nervous, because when I got here and I first had my experience with what God is in the church, and I didn't really know what it was. And I've just found it's been so loving and so accepting. And in that, I think St. John's embodies what I believe God to be. It is loving and accepting and forgiving and being at St. John's has given me so much more confidence because it is a place where I feel like no matter what I do, people will love me. And I'm a little nervous because when I go off to Mercer, which is in Georgia, and miles away, I hope that I can find people who are just as loving and accepting here. But since I was here, and we had youth group, and I started coming, I don't know why I started coming. I think it was mostly friendship. I had friends who were in it, who were in my school, so I just kept going. I've never even been to church anywhere else. I think that when I go to Mercer, I believe that God will follow me because I can bring these friendships with me, and they can help ground me and help me remember and bring me back to times where I felt closest to God. And I think overall that God's going to support me in everything I do because that's everything I've ever found Him to be.
In Mark 12, verses 30 through 31, a lawyer asked Jesus what the most important commandments were, and Jesus responded in turn. The most important one is this: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your understanding, with all your soul, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. To me, these two commandments, above all else, embody what church is and explain how I try to live my life. I believe in a God that loves, and a God that loves us unendingly, so long as we return that love unconditionally. I believe in a God that forgives our mistakes and shortcomings because He loves us so much. And I believe in a God that wants for us to love each other as much as He loves us, no matter how different we are. I have come to learn and believe this throughout my time at St. John's. With the exception of a short stint in California, I have spent my entire life in this community. Over the past 18 years, I've spent almost some part of every week at this church, whether it was on Sundays for services in Sunday school, or I've just got to drop this one thing off. It'll be quick, I promise. It was never quick. I always saw someone we knew. St. John's has been a huge part of my life. It's always been a place where I knew I'd be welcomed and loved, no matter how loud and obnoxious middle school me was. And somehow, during all of this, the community here ingrained in me how to trust in God and love my neighbor, teaching me how to be the best version of myself possible. And I know that today marks the end of my time in youth program, and going to college means leaving the community that I have here. But I also know that I will always be welcomed back with open arms, and there will always be another trip to drop off more supplies at Clark House.
So I'm ready to cry. I'm Madison. I found God in community. St. John's has been an incredibly important part of my life for 13 years. What I didn't know at age 4, when I entered kindergarten, was that I was making lifelong friends, ones that I consider my best and closest friends today. It seems like yesterday when we were playing violin really off-key or attempting to dance to songs from the Grease soundtrack. This made me feel appreciated and valued. I knew St. John's was my home at age 11. As a reasonably confident and outgoing middle schooler, I found participating in Sunday school to be easy. I did find it boring sometimes, but I made new friends every year. And year after year, I have grown more comfortable and confident in myself and my friendships, allowing me to dedicate my full attention to having fun and working to serve God in our community. I believe that I have found myself through the mission work we've done as a group. I truly love giving back to others, and I find myself pushing all my limits to give as much as I can to make a difference, inspired every day by my leaders who have given more to me than they know. It's hard to even try to put the St. John's community into words, as I'm sure many of us now realize. It's amazing and beautiful and supportive. I can't imagine spending my life growing without such incredible, loving people. Since my 5th grade graduation, I can't remember a span of time longer than a month that I haven't returned to St. John's. It hasn't struck me that I will be leaving for much longer than a month now. I can promise that I'll find a church near my college and participate in their youth group, but I can't promise that it will be even touch St. John's and the family I have found here. To my leaders, thank you for supporting me through tough times. Thank you for inspiring me to become a youth leader one day. Your dedication to helping me grow has made me feel so important and loved. To my wonderful friends, thank you for loving me when I had glasses and braces at the same time. Thank you for laughing at all my bad jokes. Thank you for being there through the tears, the sweat, and the laughter. I believe in community. Because of you all, I will always be a part
part of St. John's. They will always be part of me.
Hard act to follow. Okay, do people actually believe the stories in the Bible? Do they actually happen? Or is there just a hidden meaning in each story? Why is religion such a big deal to so many people? Who is God? Personally, I don't know. I do know that God can be many things. God is someone people look up to, believe in, and someone who gives us hope. Some people live their entire lives based off his words. Some people make all the decisions on WWGD, what we gotta do. And that is a great way for some people to live their life, but maybe not mine. Of course, I believe in God, and I look to him for hope and strength when I need it. God gives me the confidence and courage in just about everything I do. But is God really giving me strength? Or is just having the hope in a higher power giving me the courage that I didn't know I already had? Maybe that is why so many people believe in God, not because his stories are true or because he has some sort of magical power, but because he brings our strength people already have inside them. When I was younger, a friend was having a hard time. I told her to look to God. Note, I was part of a youth program, and every Sunday they always told me to have faith. Meanwhile, my friend maybe went to church every Christmas and Easter every other year. She'd always ask me why I believed in God. I had no idea. I just answered because everyone told me to. It wasn't until I was much older and understood problems people face, and when I started facing difficult times myself. Of course, that was in my teenager eyes where I thought everything was like the end of the world. That's when I started questioning God. I didn't know if I should believe in him or not. I truly doubted if God was real or not. I was lost. Thankfully, this moment reminded me of a story in the Bible. The wonderful story of the shepherd who lost one sheep and left his entire flock to go find the missing one. Thank you, 13 years of Bible school. Reading back over the story, I interpreted the story a little differently than I had done in the past. I thought about the shepherd and how he had to have the strength and courage and faith to leave his flock and go looking for the unknown one. I always pictured myself as being the lost sheep, and the shepherd was God coming to find me because he loved me. But this time I thought of it maybe a little differently, realizing that the shepherd needed strength and courage to leave his flock. For me, I felt really closest to God when I needed strength to do something. Just about every time I talk about an experience with God, I talk about how he helps me to use my courage and strength to help me through difficult times and to help others through difficult times. I believe that God wants us to reach out to others who are lost. Knowing I have God and that I can count on him to help me see my strength and that I can make good decisions through my life is how I choose to live my life. Thank you.
My name is Cole. I would first like to thank the St. John's community for being so supportive of me in my spiritual journey and personal growth. The relationships that I've formed here with members of this community have been one of the most powerful ways in which I've found God. In my early years as a part of this church, I never would have imagined making such meaningful relationships, becoming closer to God, or even wanting to come to church each week. I appreciate the sensitive, compassionate approach that this youth program takes towards discovering spirituality. I decided not to get confirmed last year because it wasn't a commitment that I felt that I was ready to make. I wanted to learn more, experience more, and see things from more perspectives before I made any public profession of faith. And that's sort of how I still feel today. But I stand here in a very different place than I was 2 years ago. Most notably, the pilgrimage in Ireland brought me much closer to God, or more accurately, helped me to form relationships with my peers and mentors that made me feel the power of God. I see God through other people and through the connections that we share. For me, God lives through us and in our actions. Like, for example, when I'm in a group of people praying, no matter the religion, language, ash, or yak, sometimes I like to open my eyes. You can see and feel this amazing strength that is truly ineffable, but to me, that's what God is. I feel God through the service we do, the stories we share, and the bonds we create. I'm nowhere near the end of my spiritual journey, but I'd like to thank everyone in this room for helping me to get to this place.